Right, let's get started. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining our Employee Center Academy. It's so amazing to see all the folks who have put their names and the places where they are dialing in from. We literally have people from all over the world. Thank you so much. I mean, this is the time of the year when I want to share my gratitude to everyone who is joining in this festive time. So thank you so much. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Pooja Gupta. I lead the outbound team for a team called Unified Employee Experiences product at ServiceNow. And we have built Employee Center capability as well as Employee Center Pro, which literally adds the front end employee engagement layer for everything that you're doing with ServiceNow. I'll tell you more about the Academy session shortly. Joined with me is Smriti Gupta, who is part of my team and is also leading Outbound. Smriti, you want to just say hi?
Hi everyone, super excited for today's session. I know most of these folks have been looking forward for this topic today, so excited. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Smriti. All right, so a little bit more context for the Employee Center Academy. This is a monthly series. So many of you, as I look through the names, there are a lot of familiar names in the participants. Thank you so much for joining. Once you enroll for this monthly series, you are invited for all the sessions. And in this series, we essentially do feature deep dives. We provide the technical guidance regarding whatever topic we have picked up. I'll share today's topic. The good thing about Academy sessions is that the recordings for these are available for you. So you can actually see a full list of previous sessions. We've been running this for almost 2 years now. So we essentially have covered anything and everything that you can think about from Employee Center related in one of our previous Academy sessions. So you will see the link for our upcoming sessions as well as previous sessions coming on chat. Smriti will just share it shortly. I highly recommend you to bookmark this link. And actually, whenever you have a question regarding any of the features, see if we have an Academy session on it and actually watch it, probably in a little bit faster speed if you want. But we'll get you the kind of guidance you're looking for. Along with feature deep dives, we also do some journey related topics like, how can you actually plan for a multi-phase deployment approach? What design techniques you can use? What would the migration from service portal to employee center look like? So you would see many of these questions that we commonly hear from customers actually addressed. The recordings for these are available on community, but you can also just find them directly on YouTube. So in the link that Smriti sent, you can see the recordings on community. But if you just go on YouTube and search for Employee Center Academy, you will see a full list of the sessions that we have done in past. Now, the session today is also being recorded. It takes about 3 to 4 days for the recording to be available. So please be patient and rest assured the recording will be available. So please spend your time learning. We do have a Q&A panel set up. So please ask your questions on the Q&A panel. Use the chat to collaborate with each other. Say hi, like you all have been doing. You have comments, you want to make a recommendation to the people who are on the call. Use the chat to do that. The Q&A panel is for questions for the panelists and the speakers. This is your time, so please do make use of it actively. All right, the topic for today, we're going to focus on content analytics for communication content. So this communication content is essentially part of Employee Center Pro. So everything that we will talk about today is applicable to Employee Center Pro. So if you don't have Employee Center Pro license, I mean, I would encourage you to stay here and learn about what type of analytics and communications we have. But everything that we will cover today does require the license. Now, going back to the Q&A panel comment, we do have a set of experts who have joined us. You are familiar with some of these names like Corey Limon, Rafa. They lead the the office hours for communications as well. So you probably have heard from them. And we also have Rel joining, who is the engineer behind some of the analytics capabilities that we will cover today. So they will be chiming in as we go through, and will of course be looking into the Q&A panel. So please make use of this panelist today. All right. So let's start getting into the content. And start with, what do we really mean when we say content analytics? Content could mean different things for different people, and we do have quite a few different tools that one could use for analytics. So I just want to start with that. So first of all, you all may have heard there is this platform capability called user experience analytics. Um, that goes very well with Employee Center. You want to understand where your users are spending time, what's their journey like, where do they start, where do they stop browsing the portal, what pages are getting more engagement, what widgets are getting more engagement, and overall what, like, especially the catalog and knowledge content is being used. That's what you use user experience analytics for. So very helpful tool. If you haven't explored it, we are replatforming it for Yokohama, and making it even better. So that's the one that you would use to understand user behavior. Now, content analytics is used for communications content. So these are your news, these are your banners. I'll talk a little bit more about it shortly, but this is what you would use just for communications. And we also have success dashboards. Out of box, we have it for IDSM and HRSD. This is what you would use to analyze business value realized for investments made across different capabilities. So things like, are you able to move the needle on self-service percentage? You have invested in portal, you have invested in virtual agent. Are people actually self-serving? You would use the success dashboard for what call deflections you are getting, and so on, are things that we have pre-built for you to use. So this is like, along with this, we also have platform analytics. You can build your own dashboards through that, but this is the main analytics tools. Now, out of this, we will be focusing on content analytics today. So before I go there further, let me spend a little bit more time explaining what is employee communications. So with Employee Center Pro, you actually have the ability to send targeted and actionable communications across different channels for employees. And these communications could be related to any service that you're offering. Like, let's say you want to drive laptop refresh activities, you could have communications for that. This could be company news. This could be like, have a benefit enrollment season and you're driving communications around that. It could be around any of those communications. So it's a very nice way to drive employee engagement and get the tasks which are priority for the organization to get completed, front and center for the employee. There are different kinds of communications that you could make. You can actually build campaigns. I'll talk about it shortly. And you could also make one-off content, like, you could just have one banner placed for a particular set of audience that you have defined. Now, within the employee communication suite of applications, there are multiple different things that you can do. Content publishing is what you use to create the content of any type, and we will walk you through what are the different types of contents that you could create. So any announcement, any employee news, event, to-do content, or rich content, or microsites that you're publishing, it is done through content publishing. Content experiences ties the content that is part of the content publishing library of content into what we call multi-staged, multi-channel campaigns. So that's where content experiences come in. Content governance is, you can actually have an end user request communication content to be made to content managers or content authors in your organization because they want to, make a communication that needs to go on the portal. We actually have a end-to-end workflow created for making that request, tracking that request, fulfilling it, and reviewing the final content and actually publishing it. Now, content analytics sits on top of these, and you actually have out-of-box dashboards to track all like content experiences stuff, content publishing stuff, and so on. So that's where we will be focusing on. And then last but not the least, content analysis also tracks content engagement. So if you are keeping up with the roadmap for communications, you would have seen that we have started adding engagement related features on some of our key content types like news. So one can go add comments, react. So you can actually track those as part of your analytics as well. Hopefully, this is making sense so far. If there are any questions, please do put it on the chat. Sorry, Q&A panel. Right. So what is content analytics? Just to reiterate, because I went through a lot of content, it is a set of out-of-box dashboards that we have created for you to track your content library content as well as campaign content. And then it is looking into some of the metrics that we have pre-built, and the main thing is who was targeted. So like what was your set of audiences that this content was targeted to? um, who of which of those targeted audiences have actually viewed or engaged with the content. So you are literally trying to track the reach and engagement in that set of audiences that you have created. So it's really helpful to just measure the effectiveness of your content. Now, what are the dashboards available? We have four key dashboards that are relevant. First one is content analytics and basics. Essentially, to be honest, this dashboard was when we did not have user experience analytics. It tracks basic portal engagement, like unique users that you are getting in, average time per page, and so on. We don't want you to use this one right now. User experience analytics is a lot deeper dashboard and will help you do and understand more. So instead of this, you use user experience analytics. We do have campaign analytics. We covered this in depth in one of our previous academy sessions. This has been there forever. And the limitation was that you could only analyze content that was part of a campaign. Typically, most people like track campaigns more closely because they're building the campaign as part of a change management initiative, as an example. So you do want to track campaigns more closely, and we have had this forever. As organizations have started doing more with their portal for communications, there was this need that we do want to track for content that is not tied with a campaign. So, individual news articles, individual banners that we are posting on the homepage, we want to see what is the engagement that we are getting with them. And many organizations are actually also experimenting, moving communications in different parts of the portal and seeing where it is more effective. So that's what brought us to build number 3 and number 4. These are where we will focus on, and this is essentially for content that is outside the campaigns. So anything that is part of the content library is actually covered in these dashboards, right? So let's look into what metrics are covered, and let's start with the content library dashboard. So first of all, good to know what is included in content library. So this slide sort of summarizes all the different content types that are available. So you can see, there is to-do content, mobile content, notification content, and also, of course, portal content, and there are various types of it. We track analytics against all. And I'll share like high level what metrics we are tracking. Okay, so here's a view into the content library dashboard. Now, a content library dashboard, like I said, is to analyze the reach and effectiveness of all your content. We will do a demo shortly and walk you through each and every each and every widget on this dashboard and talk about what content is visible, how to read it. But at a high level, the content library overview dashboard is where you would go when you are trying to get a bird's eye view of all your content in content library and engagement on those content. Um, the good thing is, from here, you can also drill down a little bit and see, for example, when you see top content, you can look into what that content is. If you are looking into aggregated events across all content types, you can actually go and see how that split is happening. So you can drill down. And at the same time, you can actually also share this dashboard with other stakeholders. There are some roles required, like you do need to ensure that stakeholder that you're sharing it with has the analytics reader role. We will deep dive into other roles required and everything towards the end, but you can share this, which is a good part. Here's a view of all the metrics that we track. So if you have used the campaigns functionality and the analytics around campaigns, then you probably will be familiar with some of these. So we typically track click-throughs and impressions. Impression is essentially, for example, someone logs in the portal and they see the banner on their portal appear. That's an impression. If they actually go click on the banner and wherever that is linking to, that's a click-through. Similarly, if you will see news articles, they have tabs that you can create. Even rich content have tabs. So we're also tracking tab level click-throughs. But mainly it is the impression and the click-throughs. If there's an action button like a video, then we also track things like was the video played. I'll let you just look at it for a second and see if you have any questions. Okay. Now, the content library overview dashboard was giving a bird's eye view of all the content. Let's say I just focus on the 4 or 5 articles that I have published and I want to track them closely. I don't want that rich dashboard, which is with all the content and makes it hard for me to drill down to my particular content item that I care the most about. One can actually drill into just that analytics associated with that content item through what we call the hamburger menu on the authoring view. So in the screenshot here, you can see how to access it. And then when you get into the analytics report, you would see all the metrics associated or being tracked for that content item. So if you are just a banner, it would be like just the trends or the impressions and clicks and unique views. But if it is something like news, you would also see engagement, which is comments and replies and reactions. And you can see how they are trending throughout the year, throughout as days pass, throughout the time that content is active. Now, again, we will walk you through this. So if you have questions on like why these graphs are going up and down, these screenshots are from the demo data, so they're not like perfect. But we will explain if you do see down, what does that mean? If you see a flat, what does that mean? So when we will do the demo, we will walk you through all how to read these graphs. All right. Any question before I get into content engagement analytics, Smriti, that I should answer?
Probably calling out many of these questions are around. I don't see these dashboards in my instance. So this is only applicable for Employee Center Pro licenses and only available with August release and above. we'll be talking about these details very shortly, but just to clarify all these questions.
Thank you, Smriti. Yes. And then they are backward compatible till Washington, D.C. But you do need to be on the latest release for Employee Center Pro, and there are some additional plugins to download. So we will walk you through how to get these dashboards towards the end. All right. One more dashboard that we will walk you through is content engagement. So there are folks who are basically focused on like what engagement we are getting across our content. So currently we have content engagement active for news. In our future releases, we are going to make it active for other types of content like microsites or rich content as well. So you would see this to be evolved as like overarching engagement dashboard. But for now, in news, you would see across all news articles that have engagement enabled, what are the trends? You know, how much engagement we are getting, reactions, comments, replies, how many views we are getting. But you can also get a consolidated view of like what are the reported content, like, you know, which of the articles have been marked as inappropriate or comments have been marked as inappropriate or, you know, have been flagged for errors and all that. So you can track it directly from this dashboard. So this is very helpful. As we do more with content engagement, you would see this dashboard to also evolve and really help understand the quality of communication content with like the reported comments and content, and also get a view of how much people are really engaging with the content. We'll walk you through this dashboard as well. So with that, there's a lot of like overview that I have done. Smriti, I'm going to hand it over to you to like, you know, again, start off from like our communications on portal and how that will be connecting back to the dashboards. Over to you, Smriti.
Sure, Pooja. Thank you so much. Let me just grab screen share. All right. I hope you see my screen.
Yes.
Awesome. So, thank you so much for that awesome introduction. We'll be diving deeper into it via the demo. For the purpose of this demo, I am logged in as Candace. She's the one of the content admin for the Employee Center portal. And before Candace dives deeper into the content analytics dashboards, it is important to understand what content items and metrics can she track via these dashboards. So, when we talk about Employee Center, content managers are tasked to share a variety of communications designed to support or inform or engage employees. These resources can range from self help resources to, in general, updates about anything that's going on within the organization, or even nudges that encourages specific actions, for example, enrollment benefits or annual goals update. So, for instance, we have a banner on the homepage that welcomes employees back to the office after working from home and offering helpful resources to ease their transition. And as an end user, once I land onto this page, I can simply read this banner information and move on to other things that I came on requesting this portal to without clicking on this button that I see here. And that would count as an impression event. So, impression is I have basically loaded this page, I have not interacted or clicked anywhere on this banner. So that would count as an impression. Or I can go ahead and click on this button to learn more about the hybrid setup that we have in place. And this interaction would count against the click through event. So, all these different event lists that Pooja had just shared, I'm trying to explain what these different events or metrics are. So, whatever action you are performing on any of the content items on the portal, whether it is a click or a download or a to do completion or a video that you're playing, all of these counts against interaction events. And if you're just simply loading that content and not interacting with it in any form, it would count against an impression. Another example is that I see these various to-do items under my task here. And if I click on any of these to view the details, so I can view my details here. It says it's time for my annual goal update here. So if I just view this, it would count as an impression. If I go ahead and mark it as complete, then it would count as completion event or a to-do completion event. Then we also have news articles published on the portal under the news center. And if I click on any of these news articles, I can see the engagement driven on this article in form of views or comments and reactions and replies and everything. So as a refresher, social engagement on news articles, this feature was released in August this year. And so now employees can provide their thoughts and feedback in form of comments and reactions here. You could see all these different comments. I can go ahead and um, like or put reply to any of the comment. I can put a like on this article as well. So there are various features available. Then there's also provision to report a comment if it's inappropriate or mispositioned in any form. So I can click on report here. Or I also have a provision to report the news article itself if it was published with some errors or broken links, right? Next, we also have rich content published on topic pages that allows content managers to better position this topic. So for example, if I'm talking about human resource topic page, as a content manager, I can better position HR topic with all the relevant information and links, in addition to the support resources like KB articles and catalog items. I have this one here, and since I'm logged in as a content admin for the portal, I can see the portal authoring shortcut on the blue bar here called the author view. So if I click on this little toggle here, I enter into the author view, right? That provides me the provision to either add new content here or edit this particular content. So let me just click on the edit content here, and I can land on the content record directly. So this saves me the trouble of having to navigate into the backend on how to actually find this piece of content to make my edits. Now on the content record, you see on the top left corner, you see this hamburger menu. If I click here and click on this view analytics report, I can see the analytics for this particular rich content that I was just showcasing on the front end, right? So this includes the number of users targeted. So if I just hover my mouse over here, I see the targeted users as 638 and impressions as 1 and so on. One disclaimer here, since this is a demo instance that I'm using here, the numbers might be too low or wonky here, but the overall concept should be easy to understand, right? So impressions, as I have already called out, it's when you're loading something without interacting, and clicks is the interaction event. Targeted users is the number of active audiences that this content item was targeted to. Similarly, I can jump onto um, my news articles list and pick any of the news article. And I can open the content record here. See, this was the published news article. I can click on this hamburger menu, click view analytics report here. And this shows me the analytics report for this particular news item. So besides the trends graph here that shows the targeted users, impressions, and clicks again, it shows me the engagement related metrics since news has engagement enabled. So I can see the engagement related metrics such as the comments and replies and reactions for any of these dates, right? And I can see the total number of views on this particular news article. And for each day, I can see the unique views by day. Now, I would like to review the other dashboards that we have available for employee communications. I can simply navigate to content analytics on the menu and see two topics here. First is setup and the next is dashboards. Now, if I'm setting up my dashboard for the first time, I can navigate to the setup menu item here and manage my tracking profiles here. To understand tracking profile, you can think of it like defining a bucket where you want to capture your analytics. It helps in setting context for your analytics related metrics. So it could be for a particular portal or a particular application or even a particular campaign. For example, if I want all of my Employee Center portal analytics to be captured with one tracking profile, I can set it up as default. And this multiple tracking profile option, this was essentially designed to help organizations which have multiple portals to keep track of. Out of the box, we have provided two tracking profiles. One is content experiences and the other is content publishing. You can select either one of them or both of them as active and then set one of them as default to set up your analytics dashboard. It does not matter which one of these you select as active and default. It would essentially fulfill the same purpose. Then moving on to dashboards, I can click on this dashboards menu item under content analytics, and then I can see all these different dashboards that I have access to. For now, let me dive deeper into the content library overview. Now, my content team keeps publishing several to-do content for the portal, such as benefits enrollment and view company policy, etc. And recently, they have assigned this task for the employees to review their annual goals since it is the end of the year. And I just want to check how many of these tasks have been closed versus how many of these are still open. So this graph shows me all the open tasks versus all the closed tasks here. And if I just want to go ahead and see all these open tasks, I can see all these different tasks across all the different to-do content that I have published here. I can go ahead, group this by description, and see for annual goal update, all these users are still yet to complete their to-do content. I can extract this list and then send targeted communication or any form of notification just to these users to go ahead and fulfill their task, right? Similarly, this graph here, this shows me the number of tasks that were closed within on the same day or within last 2 days, or they were closed within 1 to 2 weeks from now, right? So this is giving me the task closure list with respect to the timelines when they were closed. Then event activity of over time. So all the different user interactions or impressions that you have for all the portal content, you can see for each date what was the number of total events. So total events is total number of user interactions and impressions that was there for all of the portal content, right? So I can see on 16 December, my portal was really very buzzing. Then the engagement might have dropped down because of a company holiday or something else. So basically, what's triggering the engagement within your portal? This is highlighting that. Then if I want to drill down for each of these particular content items, for example, I might only be interested in the banner updates or the rich content or any of the event that I've published or the to-do content, or I just want to focus on one particular news item. What was the engagement like for that particular date on that news item? So I can have a look at it from this graph. Each of these line represents, um, so each of these line represents a piece of content. So for example, on 16th December, I can see the new expense reporting system. It had 80 events, right? And I can probably choose any of these bar graphs, click on it, and drill down. So this is the news article that I'm talking about. And what were the different events that were done for this news article. So this is the news content impression that was done. Somebody must have clicked on the news item. So a click-through event was triggered, right, for all the different dates. And you can see the profile where it was captured, since this is my default profile. Now, if I would just want to drill down by each event, what is the stats or what is the analytics? So I just want to understand what is the video impressions for this particular date. I can see that for 16 December, I had 21 video impressions. And then I can click on any of this and drill down to this particular event type. So for news content impressions, I had all these different news that were triggering this particular event. I can see this drill down here. The next graph shows me top content. So I see that this particular news item, ground breaks, it's actually having the maximum engagement. And this is one of my top content here, right? So again, for this as well, I can click on this, have a drill down. All these different activities. This is also a pie chart that's showing a better representation of what content item is driving the maximum engagement. So this is basically showing the proportion of each type of interaction or each type of event compared to the total number of actions that are there. The top notifications graph right here, this is a bar chart showing the most clicked email notifications for the specific time period. So I might have triggered an email notification, and whichever is the most clicked email notification, I can see or analyze from this graph here. If I want to analyze this dashboard for a particular date range, let's say for last 3 months, I can go ahead, or I can also select a custom date range here and populate the data accordingly, right? Then moving on to the content engagement dashboard, right? So for content engagement, like I've already mentioned, news article presents a content social engagement feature where users can interact with the article and express their feedback or opinion in form of comments, replies, and report a article or a comment and things like that. So this particular content engagement dashboard displays those metrics for all of these news articles. So I can see on particular date, these are the total number of reactions that I got for all my news articles. These are the total number of comments and replies that I got. These are my view details or unique view stats here. Then I can either, as a end user, report the news article itself, or I can also go ahead and report any of the comment. So let's just see if a news article was reported. You can see it in reported content here. And I see here the clone news, it was reported twice. So probably there's something really wrong with this article. Let me just go ahead and click this particular record to see what was reported. This was actually reported by Allison, and I can see what is it that she has reported. So she has said the content is incorrect, and the comment that she has added is headline and subtitle literally says clone news. This probably needs a review before publish. And yeah, actually, she's right. I mean, if I click this news item here, the headline literally says clone news. So it was probably published while one of the content manager was still trying to figure out the flow of this news article. So I can close it, and whatever action that needs to be taken, I can take that, right? Coming back to my dashboard. Similarly, for reported comment, I can actually see what comment or was reported. So I can see this is the comment was reported. It was actually the comment was written by Naomi, and Lucas has reported this comment. And let's see what he has reported. So he has said the link is working fine, comment is not correct. Probably I can take an action on that, right? So one last thing for the dashboards. So I have actually analyzed all of the engagement metrics that I wanted to analyze here, and I want to actually go ahead and share this dashboard with another person or team member within my organization. I can select the name of that person here, right? Select if I want to share this dashboard with the edit access or only with the read access. Suppose I just want to share this as edit access, I can select it and confirm. And here you can see all the roles that have access to these, all the individuals that have access to this, right? And you can confirm. This is how you can actually share the dashboard. With this, we come to an end of our demo piece. I'll just pause here. Are there any questions that we need to address from the Q&A?
No, I think we're good. Corey, Rafa, anything else that you would want to add in the demo?
No, I'm just answering questions in the Q&A. We're pretty low. Um, so yeah, nothing extra here.
Awesome. Thanks, Priti. Most of the questions that I've been seeing are around plugins required, roles required. So I think as we will go deeper into the next set of our presentation, that will help. Folks on the call, if there are any questions, anything that you want to dig deeper on, put it in the Q&A panel, and in the when time permits, we can come back to it.
Awesome. So one last thing, all these metrics, it takes around 24 hours to populate. So all these scheduled jobs that we have in place, they run once in 24 hours. If you want, you can run these jobs manually as well, but just to highlight the frequency, it takes 1 day to update these metrics here. Let me just reshare my screen to the PPT back. Just give me 1 second. Awesome. So for the additional guidance, I am just going to cover all the initial questions that we had. I don't see these dashboards in my instance, how I can access these dashboards or what are the requirements. So this is basically covering all the requirements and the setup steps here, right? So first is you would need an Employee Center Pro license with application version 32.0.4. So this is essentially August 2024 release or above to get the content engagement and content library overview dashboards. This is backward compatible with Washington, D.C. and Xanadu and Yokohama. But one important call out here is if you're on Washington, D.C. family release or before, you'll have an older experience that was powered by a performance analytics framework. And our newer experience for the content analytics dashboard, that will be available for Xanadu or above family versions. And this newer version is powered by our platform analytics framework, and this is basically a more revamped experience. So just to call out here, if you don't see the experience that's matching the demo that's presented here, it might be worth checking what family version you're on. For the plugins list, you would obviously need the Employee Center Pro application. And you would also need to go ahead and separately download the Content Analytics plugin, the Performance Analytics Portal Analytics, and the Performance Analytics Content Engagement Analytics plugins. So right now, you'll have to install all these 3 plugins separately in addition to the Employee Center Pro plugin. But moving forward from Q1 2025 onwards, we'll roll it along with the EC Pro plugin install as auto install. So basically, you'll just have to install Employee Center Pro application, and all these other 3 plugins will be auto installed, right? Once you have checked all the licenses and family requirements and you have installed all these different plugins, the main role required to do the initial setup is analytics admin. So analytics admin role is required to basically do the initial setup, like setting up the tracking profiles. I've already talked about the tracking profiles. Out of the box, we have two tracking profiles available: content experiences and content publishing. You can just go ahead and make either of these or both of these as active, and you need to make one of this as default, right? So it's mandatory to ensure that default profile is activated. And if you're having any custom widgets where you're publishing content, you can either go ahead and update any of these out of the box tracking profiles, or you can also create new tracking profiles, right? For viewing the results, analytics reader role would be required to access the content analytics dashboards. So analytics reader role is contained within the um, content admin and content manager role. So this is not something additional that you would need to assign. If you are content admins and content managers should already have the analytics reader role, right? And they should be able to access the content analytics dashboards. For viewing the content engagement dashboards, you would also need to assign an engagement admin role, right? And content managers can go ahead and view the relevant metrics for any of the individual content items that they own. So the news article and the view analytics report that I was showcasing, any of the content managers should be able to see those dashboards without any additional roles assigned. Right. And only analytics admin can share these dashboards with relevant stakeholders with read or edit access. One call out here is we do see the edit button on the dashboards, but if you do any of the changes using those edit buttons, it would kind of qualify as customization. So we do not recommend you to go ahead and make any of the edits. For viewing these analytics reports, just like I've showcased in the demo, you need to navigate to content analytics dashboards and select whatever desired dashboard to see the metrics tracked. You can see all the different metrics, graphs, and you can do the drill down and everything else. With this, we come to an end of this session. Anything that still needs to be addressed, Corey, Rafa, Pooja, or anything that you would like to call out from the Q&A?
Can you show the slide 3, like setup step 3? Someone was just asking if they can see. That's it. Yep. I don't see any further questions. Yeah, we could
I
wrap
do
up.
I
Yeah,
do
go
have
ahead.
one thing to address. So we have gotten a couple questions about content categorization. And so while currently we have the ability to categorize content from a just a kind of a tagging perspective, things like news and upcoming event content type. We don't have a way from an analytics perspective outside of creating individual tracking profiles or campaign records to house groupings of content. So if you wanted, so unfortunately, today it's either the content library itself, and that is geared for one-off content publishing, versus if you wanted to do an overarching campaign that had, let's say, dozens or even hundreds of content items, you would use that campaign structure, to build out your campaign and then report on that using the campaign's dashboards. So that is how it's done today, but we're definitely open to feedback.
Awesome. Thanks for adding that, Corey.
And one more question, just to confirm, because I'm getting that question in the Q&A panel, if any of the dashboards are showing 0, what does that mean? Does that mean the content is not being tracked, or are there any permissions that we probably need to activate?
Yeah, Rafa, do you want to take that one?
So, just to be clear, are you referring to those cases where we see peaks and valleys?
Yeah,
in the dashboard.
we
Mhm.
don't see like any data in the dashboard.
Yeah, so the way we technically we do it to avoid overhead is we calculate daily the engagement for a given piece of content. So if for that day there hasn't been any kind of engagement, neither view nor any kind of click through or any other event, then we don't calculate it. So most of the days, if there's at least a view, what you'll see is this almost flat line for audience, right? If the audience doesn't change that much, and then the engagement for that day going up and down based on the engagement for that specific day. And then for the days where there's nothing, as we do not calculate anything, what you'll see is a dip where everything goes to zero, right? It doesn't really mean that the content was offline. It doesn't really mean any of that. It just means that there wasn't even a single engagement that day with that content. So we didn't calculate anything for it.
Thank you, Rafa.
Awesome. Just to close this call here, we have an additional events online and track. We have been having several events for this year, and we continue having all of these series and many more in the upcoming year as well. For office hours, we have employee center deployment office hours that covers in general all of the employee center deployment related queries and questions. We do it every last Tuesday of a month. The next session is towards the end of January, on January 28th, since the December one we are canceling due to holidays. I do hope you have some fun plans for your holidays as well. For similar reason, we have employee communications officers um, every first Thursday of a month. The next session is due on February 6th for similar reasons. The January session was too close to the holidays, so we decided to call it off. And then the next series we have in place is the roadmap webinars. We are yet to decide the dates for the Q1 2025 roadmap webinars, but please do check out these links here. We update all the upcoming events here. For the next session of Employee Center Academy, we'll meet on 15th of January, where we'll be delivering a topic on delivering global business services via Employee Center. Hope this session has been helpful. If you still have some questions, please feel free to stay. We are still here for another couple of minutes. Otherwise, I do hope you have great holidays. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.